The storm howled like a wounded beast the night young. Ethan stumbled into Martha's life. She was a widow, struggling to keep food on the table after losing her husband to a collapsed mine, praying each night that God wouldn't let her starve. Her tiny cabin sat at the edge of the plains, where the wind never stopped screaming and winters felt like punishment. When she opened the door that night, lantern trembling in her hand, she saw a boy half frozen, his cheeks numb and pale, his eyes filled with fear and confusion. He could barely speak, whispering only his name, Ethan, before collapsing into her arms. Martha didn't have much, but she had compassion deeper than the ocean. She wrapped him in her late husband's coat and fed him the last of her soup, not knowing where tomorrow's meals would come from, but believing a child's survival mattered more than her hunger. Days became weeks, and the boy healed slowly. Though he avoided questions about where he came from, he had nightmares, dark dreams of gunshots, fire, and a man calling his name. Martha comforted him like a mother, knowing pain when she saw it. Soon, Ethan filled the cabin with laughter, hunting rabbits, chopping wood, learning to fish at the creek. He became her joy, her purpose, her family reborn. The townsfolk whispered, "Where did the child come from? Shouldn't someone look for his kin?" But Martha ignored them. God wouldn't have brought Ethan to her door by accident. She believed fate had given her a second chance at motherhood. For 5 years they lived quietly, finding happiness in the little things: warm cornbread, sunsets over golden wheat, stolen smiles by the fireplace. Ethan grew into a smart, courageous boy who helped neighbors and protected Martha when wolves prowled nearby. He called her Mama, and every time he did, she felt her heart heal a little more. But fate is never satisfied with calm. One brisk morning, hooves thundered across the frozen ground as a line of horsemen approached the cabin. Martha stepped outside, shielding Ethan with her body, her heart pounding as she recognized wealth when she saw it. Fine leather saddles, polished boots, the kind of horses only the richest cattle lords could afford. In the center of the group sat a tall man with a thick beard, dressed in a long fur-lined coat. Snow clung to his shoulders, and his eyes were haunted, yet determined. He dismounted slowly and removed his hat with shaking hands. His voice cracked as he spoke. "I've searched every town, every ranch, and every orphanage in the territory. That boy, that's my son." Martha felt the world collapse beneath her feet. Ethan's small hand clutched hers tighter, seeking protection. She shook her head, refusing to believe that the child God sent her could be taken away. The man stepped closer, tears freezing on his lashes. "My name is Samuel Carter. I'm his father, and I've come to take him home." Ethan stared at the stranger. Something in his eyes flickered, like a memory returning. Martha's heart broke as she realized she might lose the only family she had left. What would become of her if the boy left? Who would she be? And why now, after 5 years of struggle and sacrifice? Her voice was a whisper drowned by the wind. "I raised him. I love him." Samuel removed a silver locket from his pocket. Inside was a small portrait of a smiling woman and a baby Ethan cradled in her arms. Ethan gasped. Memories crashed back like a flood. His mother's face, the fire that killed her, and a masked thief who stole him away before Samuel could reach them. Tears streamed down the boy's cheeks. He clung to Martha, the woman who saved his life, who loved him when the world forgot him. A terrible choice loomed: love or blood, past or future. And the decision would tear all 3 hearts apart. Martha's tiny cabin felt like a battleground, between hope and heartbreak, as Samuel pleaded with his son to come home. The fire crackled behind them, casting shadows that danced like ghosts of their pasts. Samuel explained everything: how he had been one of the wealthiest ranchers in the West, owning acres of land, hundreds of cattle, and more riches than most men dreamed of. But none of it mattered after losing his wife and then losing his son. He spent 5 years searching relentlessly, refusing to accept Ethan was gone. Each winter he feared the worst. Each spring he vowed to try again. Ethan listened quietly, torn between the blood he came from and the love that saved him. Martha's hands trembled, as she poured coffee for a man who might destroy her entire world. She wasn't angry, just terrified. Terrified of being alone again. Terrified that God had played a cruel trick by giving her what she always wanted, only to rip it away. Samuel knelt before her and said in a voice cracking like breaking glass, "I owe you a debt I can never repay. You kept my boy alive. If you wish, you may come with us. Live on the ranch. You'll be family." Martha wanted to scream that she didn't want his wealth, his pity, or his charity. She just wanted Ethan. But Ethan, with tears flooding his eyes, turned and hugged her tight. "Mama, I'll never leave you. You are my home," the boy whispered. Martha felt her spirit break and heal at the same time. That word, home, carried all the love in the world. She looked into Samuel's eyes and saw a man destroyed by grief, desperate for a miracle. Maybe God had sent Ethan not just to save her, but to save him too. She stood tall, wiping her tears, and made a decision braver than any battle. "If you take him from me, you break two hearts," she said. "But if you allow him to love us both, he will have two homes, two parents, twice the love." Samuel swallowed hard. He realized this woman wasn't losing a son, but gaining a family. And so was he. With a solemn nod, he extended his hand, not to take Ethan away, but to unite the pieces of all their shattered lives. That night, they packed Martha's belongings into saddlebags and rode toward the Carter ranch, not as strangers battling over a child, but as a new family destined to heal each other's wounds. Ethan rode between them, holding both their hands, smiling through tears as the moonlight guided them forward. When they reached the sprawling ranch, workers cheered, knowing the heir had finally returned. Samuel introduced Martha as the woman who gave me my son back. She was offered a warm room, a new life, and a family bigger than she ever dared dream. And Ethan? He grew up with the strength of a cowboy and the heart of a mother who saved him. Years later, when he became a man and inherited the ranch, he built a statue in the center of the property dedicated to the poor, widow who chose love over fear and changed two lives forever.